Okay, I'm back. Um, Somebody called me, so I had to answer that phone call. We was talking and stuff, and then we talked about other things. But they was calling to find out how the pastor was. So I only can give the update that I knew. And they was saying, oh, I didn't even know. So I'm sorry. They was asking me questions, certain questions, different questions, but they said, well, what's wrong with her? I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. But get a hold of Johnny or Mr. the people that's in charge. I was supposed to get some. I forgot all about that. I'm supposed to get some free burgers or something from McDonald's when you do their code. So, let me finish my story time, which is part 2 of what? My backsliding. Right? So now, hey Google, turn off AC.
All right, turning the air conditioner off.
So they say, she put me out. I was sitting in front of the door. And I guess she called my father. I guess she called my father and told my father she put me out. My father wouldn't talk to me again. I get on the phone, he asked me, he was like, did she put you out? Sharon, did she put you out? And she's standing there in front of me looking. I said, yes. He said, all right, give her the phone. I'm back in, because whatever he said to her, she went and got me. He said, well, come on in here. So I stayed there and everything. My father came from work because he was at work. And even though we lived in Queens, the part of Queens that he worked was on a different side from where we were living. So, maybe, I don't know, because I really can't remember right now everybody's address. I just know where they lived at. To the day I can take you to each. Now, I probably can't take you to the person that put me out house, because she lived it like in the suburbs, because she had a good job. But I could take you to the house where the woman that went and kicked out them boys. She was suburb too, but she was right off of Jamaica Ave. So that was more of Jamaica Avenue side. So now, father came from work. He said to me, he said, "You all right?" I said, "Yes." I'm sitting in the kitchen crying. And he said, "It's all right. Go get your stuff. Go get your stuff. It's okay." So went and got me. I went and got my stuff. And she was arguing with him and like hitting him and stuff. Just like she was hitting me, she was hitting him. And he ain't say nothing. He just said, "Go ahead, Sharon, go get in the car." He said, "Go get in the car." So I left and I went, got in the car. She was saying all types of things while we was leaving. He was like, "That's all right, that's all right." And she was calling me all kinds of names. Now, mind you, what I did to this lady, what was up with everybody in my life, in my lifetime? I don't know. But anyway, she, take your little child, get on out of here, because you love her more than you love me. Da 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 da. Hello? He's supposed to. I'm his daughter. And you acting the way you acting, you better be glad you got some love from him, because my father ain't play. So I'm in the car and I'm crying, sniffling. Because it was cold. I'm gonna lie, it was cold. And, thinking just for people, just in case somebody's thinking that, oh, I was picking on this particular person for bullying me. When I was staying with them, their daughter was bullying me, but I never said nothing. Never told the parents. Her sons was whatever. Excuse me, but her daughter wanted to fight me. She was, what's up with everybody? See, that's what made me, as people will call me, mean. But I wasn't mean. Inwardly, I had a gracious heart, and I love people sincerely. But as these different things kept happening to me, I began to grow a shell. And that shell, I wouldn't let nobody get in. That's why God had to probably knock me out each time he was filling me with the Holy Ghost, or before he filled me with the Holy Ghost, so that shell could break down and he'll be able to do something with me. So I guess because he was able to knock me out and I was able to feel his presence, apart from what he done for me, dying for me, that gave me much respect for him and made me stand up for him to this day and not back down to any untruth, any lies. Yeah, you can bully me, you can beat me up, you can lie on me, you cannot allow me to do this in the church, you cannot allow me to do this on the job, whatever the case may be. That was for righteousness' sake. Because if I'm sitting down minding my business as a child, why you beat me up? Why you abusing me as a child? Righteousness' sake, because the good in me, you can see, and you mad with my dad. Are you mad with my aunt? Are you mad with my uncle? So now you want to be beating me up. So her daughters fight. She fought me. I could not. The only time I lived peacefully in a home was with my grandmother after my cousin left. As long as my cousin was there, I had no peace. I tried to enjoy mommy love. I knew she loved me, but I became an invert. I stayed to myself. Coming to the church, an invert. I try to interact with people, Nobody want to interact with me. So I'd be in the corner. And then people used to tell me, you got to fellowship with people. You got to show love. Show love for what? So you can beat me upside my head again? So you can say all types of things. Oh, you so skinny. You ain't the best looking girl. All these different sly remarks you saying to me. And I'm supposed to not hear you. I'm supposed to not hear you. What, I'm deaf? God gave me very good ears. And now he gave me very good eyes. And even when I could barely see things, my senses of smell and hearing increased. So even though I couldn't see you, I could hear you. I was taken from there and went to another lady house. I stayed with her. And this is all during the course from 12 to 15 years of age. Now I'm in school. I couldn't go nowhere because I was in school. You know what I'm saying? I had to stay in school, finish school, all that other stuff. Right? So now I'm staying I'm in the house, taking care of somebody's grandmother or somebody's mother. I don't think it was a mother. I think it was a grandmother. Excuse me. So I'm in there minding my business. Here come people with telling some lies on me. That's why I had to be truthful. Because I know what it felt like to be lied on. I know what that feeling felt like. And I had so much compassion for people and people I didn't even know. So I couldn't go around just telling lies on people. I couldn't even lie. I tried to lie to my mom and said, stop it. Stop it. You know it ain't true. So here goes some more lies. Now I'm in this lady house. And they telling my aunt that I'm bringing guys in the house and I'm smoking. And they believed it. Smoking? I done had my share of ups and downs. I done had my share with the smoking with the lady. I wasn't dealing with no smoking. So, but this is before a job call. Because that was the last thing that I did. I did with that lady, helped that lady. The lady was hard to work with too. She was an elder lady, but you know how some people, they get older and they get real meaner, and I don't know. I don't even know what to call it, but I ask God to please don't let me be like that. I'll get like that. So she before I went to that, the lady house that I went to live with, that my father took me from, and then took me to another girlfriend house. Now I'm at her house. This is where my dad is staying at. And these people drank. My father and her they was pure alcoholics. And you talking about beating? For once it wasn't me. He would beat that lady up. See, my father's deceased now, so I can talk about his life. I mean, I can talk about it anyway, because that's my dad. He would beat that lady. I would hear her screaming, stop. Just stop. And I'm in the room like, Lord Jesus. My room was right next to them. And she had some boys. But I don't know where them boys went. But them boys wasn't staying well. Maybe she was grandma. I think she was grandma. Yeah, because my father would have been grandpa to anybody. Because he's an old man. But anyway. I see by this time he was in his late whatever age he was. I'm not racking my brain trying to remember his age. But when he would leave to go to work, before he would leave to go to work, he would wake me up. I don't know what's up with these people. He was doing what the lady that he took me from was doing to me. He would wake me up like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Get out. You need to go get a job. Now, he worked for housing. Why he ain't get me in housing? I know a lot of people, children, got jobs based on the fact of them living in housing or their parents was in housing. I'm like, what kind of job I'm going to get? I'm just 14, 15 years old. Find your job. They got jobs out there for kids. I don't know whether Summer Youth was out at the time. I don't know. Because I'm remembering Summer Youth with my kids. I don't remember with myself. Because I don't remember ever. Wait, let me think. Maybe I did. But I was in a program that was called Back to Work. No, I'm thinking about welfare. Been on it too long. What was the name of that? Dang, it was a program in school where you work 1 week and go to school 1 week. But anyhow, work program or something like that. But anyway. So he would wake me up this morning. Every morning this man would wake me up. He'd be arguing. And I used to get so scared because my father was dangerous when he got mad. So I knew what the girl was going through. I knew what the lady was going through. I got hit by my father before. Nothing of my own will. I mean, nothing of something I did. More lies. So, anyway, forward whining. I stayed with her. Then I got kicked out of her house because she told a lie to my dad that I hit her because she had fell down. When my dad came back, she told my dad that I hit her. Now, the reason why she told him that lie, because she was bothering me and mouthing me off. And she was just going in on me. No good. Oh, my God. See, I don't know. I'm presuming my father probably would have did something. Probably would have took me from her and took me to another lady. But just like I said, I always like to keep the peace. And I know my father was beating her up. So I wasn't going to say nothing. Not to say that he would have defended me. But I saw him defend me. So I wouldn't even say nothing. So I was trying to leave. That's what it was. I was trying to leave. And by now, I was working at the police department as auxiliary police. Had my uniform, had everything. I had to be working with them for 6 months before I could get on payroll. If I'd have stayed working with them for 6 months, I would have got on payroll, and then I would have been eligible to get a job with the police department, right? And plus, I was in school too, so. But I never got a chance to stay there in those 6 months because I got kicked out. Here I am walking the street. I'm talking about my backsliding days. Now you probably say, you were saved back then? I was supposed to be. But I just didn't understand the knowledge of salvation, the reality of salvation, and the reality of backsliding. So as far as I was concerned, I was still saved, right? Because what was happening to me didn't have nothing to do with what I was doing, So, and when I think about it, it was never, talked about in my presence about you're not supposed to smoke, you're not supposed to drink and all that. It wasn't in my presence that it was said. What was said to me in my presence, what was preached. And when I say to me, that's because it was in my presence, not directly to me. And that you got to live the life. You got to do what Jesus say. You got to do what God say. You got to read your word and get understanding. And the Holy Ghost is what's going to teach you all of this. You can't do it, and so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm trying to leave. She got in my way. You ain't going nowhere. I'm saying, why you trying to keep me? I got to go to work. Now here was the catch. They wanted me to work. Now that I got a job, right? I explained to them what it was and everything, right? I think my uncle went to my ceremony because you got to go through, what's that? Self-defense. You got to go through a self-defense class. Then you got to be taught the fundamentals of the police department underneath the jurisdiction, or underneath the how can I say, what's the word I can use? Underneath the knowledge of being underneath the directions of being an auxiliary police. So the person had to teach us all the fundamentals, the basics, all that about being auxiliary police. So I got into it. We had to dress, we had to go. They gave us the uniform, but we had to pay for our shoes, we had to pay for our nightstick and all that stuff. But everything else, we got the belt with the reflector on it, we got the book, the memo book, all that stuff. We got all of that, everything. We got the shirt. The only thing we didn't get was bulletproof vests and guns. In order for us to get the guns, we had to be a police officer, like that. So I think my uncle, my father didn't come, and neither did my father's girlfriend, the one I was staying with at the time, didn't come. But my uncle came to the ceremony. I invited him and everything. Went in my grandmother's house with my pants and my uniform on, and my uncle was like, "Mama, look at her. She is a police officer." And I walked in there. Mommy looked at me. He said, "Yeah, okay. Right?" But I could tell, she was happy with me, but mommy wasn't a emotion person. She wasn't one to show her emotions. But I lived with her for so long to know when she was pleased with me. She didn't like the fact that I had the pants on, but it was okay. See, I didn't have no fire yet, so I didn't get no knowledge that there was nothing wrong with wearing pants until after I had that fire, and I couldn't wear nothing but pants. Then I was told, and I got the knowledge and understanding that there really was nothing wrong with wearing pants. You see what I'm saying? As long as you don't wear it to disgrace God, as long as you don't wear it to change your gender. If you're a girl, you wear your girl pants. If you're a boy, you wear your boy pants. Don't be wearing girl pants to be a. Don't be wearing boy pants to be a boy, and don't be wearing girl pants to be a girl. That's the knowledge of it. So therefore, I learned and realized that it's okay to wear your pants, right? So now, with that being said, I came in there, blah 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 blah. I went to the ceremony. Now I'm working, right? So now, my father already had a conversation with me, wanting to know when I was going to get paid. I told him, I said, "Daddy," I said, "I told you because I had to first get permission from my father if I could join, because I was living with them, right? I was now living with them. I wasn't living with my grandmother no more. I was no longer going to church. Nothing about church was in my agenda. And I'm about 16 years old now, 17 years old, right? So, yeah, I was about 17 years old. So now, I went to my father. My father was like, "Well, okay, so when you going to get paid?" I said, "Daddy, I got to be there for 6 months." I said, 6 months? And then you what? Then you get your first paycheck? I said, "Yeah, I'll get my first paycheck, Dad." He said, "All right." So I'm working like about 3 months now. Going into the 4th month. Now, my father's mad. He's beating up the girl because he got to spend all his money in the house. He ain't take. Now, here, let me tell you something. He was not taking care of me. Now that I'm thinking about it, I had to go and sneak food to eat. Oh my God, this is the first time I'm actually remembering this, talking about it. That's why I love YouTube. YouTube will break down your life to you. But when you get to talking about it, who else I would have been able to tell this to? I can't tell this to nobody else. And all the people that knew about what was going on is deceased. And I never told nobody. Mommy never knew. My grandmother, which is my father's mother, she never knew how her son was treating me, how her son girlfriends was treating me, because I never told it. She got upset with one girlfriend, and that's because it came back to her through me that she hit me. And my grandmother went in. "Yeah, let her touch her again. That ain't your wife, and that ain't Sharon's mother." Right? Okay, with that being said. So, now my father is waking. That's when the waking up, because he wasn't doing it all before. 3 months into the job, now he's starting to wake me up every single day, talking about you need to go get you a real job. I know they got some jobs out there for teenagers. I don't know nothing. I'm going to school, and the thing that I was doing was work 1 week and go to school 1 week. That's it. So I was working, but that didn't last forever. And then it was starting to mess up with my grades because they was not carrying over what I'm doing over into the school. So I wasn't getting credited for the work. And then I come back to school, and my grades is down. Because I love the school. I had no problem. Please. I was top notch. I wasn't an honor student, but I was passing. I was a passing grade class. If it was number 65, I made it over. I made it over, right? So I began to notice that the work site wasn't letting them know that I was going to work, which I was. But I was having so much issues at home that they was stopping me from going to work, and I was coming late. And sometimes I would be locked up in the house and I couldn't get out. The lady would lock the door, and they had one of them locks that had the keys. So sometimes I would be in that house for days, because my father would go wherever he going, and I'm sitting up there in that house, and that lady mad because my daddy didn't show up, and she going in, and if she hear me go in the kitchen and hear the refrigerator open, she'll get out my refrigerator. I'll be like, that's why I couldn't gain no weight, and that's probably why my body just grew to a certain weight. Couldn't get no fatter because I wasn't giving it nothing, so that the bones or the whatever it is could grow, so I can look like I got some meat on me. Anyway, moving right along. So this particular day, I think she had to go to the mailbox or something, and the door was open, the lock was off. So when the key is not in there, you can turn the lock and open the door. But if the key is in there, I'm trying to think. So if the key wasn't in there, then you locked in. But if the key is in there, then you could turn it. So I went this morning, I noticed. I ain't been to work for like 2 days. I ain't been to the auxiliary thing for like 2 to 3 days. They ain't know what was going on. I couldn't talk to them. They ain't had cell phones back then. If you didn't have a house phone, you had no source of communication. Right? I was like, wow. So I had went. She had not left. She was in the room. And I snuck past her room. And I noticed that the door was open. And before I know it, she was behind me, pulling me. Where you think you go? You ain't going. I said, listen, I got to go to work. How am I supposed to be making some money? How am I supposed to help y'all if y'all won't let me go to work? You ain't going to no work. You ain't going to work. You going to hang out. Hang out at work. Nap. Ain't gonna. And she stayed in my way, whatever. So I slightly pushed her. And when I pushed her, she was drunk. So it just took something like that and she would fall. So when I slightly pushed her, I'm going to be honest with you, I slightly pushed her. Right? I'm telling her, move, you got to move. And she was all up in my space. That's where she was. That's where she was. And I'm like, come on. And I slightly, and she fell down. I said, you all right? You all right? Get out. Get out. Get out. Don't come back. So I went out. And I had to stay out the house. I was scared to go back. And I stayed with one of the auxiliary police girls. They was doing it for years, so they was getting money. They was getting paid. So they was telling me it does work, but you got to stay for the whole 6 months. The whole 6 months. I said, wow. And I stayed with this Puerto Rican girl, and they was drunks, but they was funny drunks. We would be cracking up. Me and my girlfriend would be cracking up. But anyway, so I was scared. So I stayed with her I think I stayed with her like 3 months. 3 months. And this is during the time that my grandmother was down south. So she never knew. She had no idea what was staying there. So finally, I got put out of that house. The daughter, and they was Pentecostal, so I got to go to church. So I was going to church. I was going to church with them to their Spanish church, right? And them Spanish people be having church. You hear what I'm saying? Them Spanish Pentecostal people, what? The only thing I understood was Jesus and hallelujah. That's it. That's it. That's all I know. That's all I could say in their language. But they was having, so I felt it, and I was missing my church. And I was like, well, I can't go to church, because if I go to church, everybody gonna be looking like, where the crazy Sharon coming from? I was an adult. Everybody, as far as the church was concerned, I'm sure they thought I was with my grandmother in the South. Nobody knew I was with my father, right? Nobody knew that life, that side of my life. Because my father wasn't a church person, and I never came to church with my father. So they never knew I was staying with him. So the girl mother told her in Spanish that I had to leave. Because you can always tell when you're not welcome. Now, when I first got there, the lady was okay. I guess she told the girl that, I guess she told her mother that I got put out. The father and the girlfriend was abusing me or something. So the mother was, yeah, she liked me in the beginning. That's why I tell you, when it comes down to salvation, you got to make sure you got God in your life. Because other than that, things are going to come to you and try your salvation, and it's going to expose who you really are if you just yang. So, in the beginning, the lady loved me. She cooked the food. She was like, you got to eat. You little. And her daughter was just as little as me and short. She was about 4'1", and her boyfriend was about 4'1", 4'11", or something like that. And but they was real nice. I'm not gonna say they weren't. They was very nice. They helped me through that time. And it's true when they say people come through your life for a period of time, whether it's to help you or to mess you up. And it's true, because they was there and they helped me. I would cry a lot of times, and I'd be scared. And the girl would come to me because her mother would be talking to her in Spanish during the course of those 3 months. And she'd be like, Sharon, you got to go back home. And I'd be telling her, I said, I'm scared. I said, I'm scared my father's going to beat me. She said, well, just tell your father what happened. Tell her that she hit you and all that stuff. I mean, I left that out, but she did hit me. She was hitting me all in my face, talking about you ain't going nowhere and fighting. I'm trying to get out there and she fight me. But anyway. So now, finally, I had to go back home. I knock on the door. They open the door. I walks in. I pass by. They in their bedroom. So I pass them and I go in the room. Right? She comes in the room. They sober. Both of them are sober. She comes in the room. She says, so. She said, how you been? I said, I've been fine. She said, so you think you could just come in my house? You got some rent to give me? Well, it wasn't too much rent. No, they didn't kind of too much bother me with rent, but they did bother me with money. You got some money to give me? I said, no. But she left out. She said, well, you ain't going to stay here. So, Jesse, you hear me? So then my father came and he started talking. He was talking nice, asking me questions. Where you been? I said, well, I was at my this church girl house. Oh, you was at a church girl house, huh? Yeah. So what did their mother have to say about you staying with them for 3 months? I said, well, she wasn't too happy with it. So why you didn't come home? I said, because I was scared. Scared of what? Because I thought you were going to hit me. I said, I know Paulette I know she was going to lie on me and stuff like that. What do you mean she was going to lie on you? Right? So she left, he left, I went back. So now we're going back and forth, back and forth. He comes back, tell me that she said that you hit her, and you knocked her down, and you left her there. And I was like, that's not true, Dad. So the long one, making a long story short, he said, well, you got to go. You can't stay here. She don't want you to stay here. So I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? Because my grandmother wasn't here. I said, where am I supposed to go? He said, I don't know. I don't know where you're supposed to go. So this is after me working with the lady and me being paid, the older lady. So this is after. This is afterwards. Right? So now, after I left that house, I went back to my aunt's. My aunt said I couldn't stay there, so then I went back to my father, because that's where I was. I went back to my father. And I don't know. No, I had to go to aunt first. Yeah, I went to aunt, did the job, whatever happened. She called my father, which was her brother, and I came back to him. I was staying with him. Then I stayed that long time, however long I stayed. Then I got the auxiliary police job, and then I got kicked out from there, and now I'm walking the street. Didn't have nowhere to go, ran up on an uncle. Uncle said whatever they said, sent me to the police, to the precinct, went to the precinct. The precinct took me to Covenant House. I stayed at Covenant House. Mind you, this is during the time I was supposed to be saved, right? To be honest, I'm still saved because I didn't do anything, right? So I went on, and then I wound up going. Job Corps came into play when there was no place left for me to go. So my aunt had said to me, when I had called her and asked her could I come back, because my uncle said for me to call her, and this uncle is not my father's brother, it's another uncle, told me to call my aunt and see if my aunt let me come back to her. When I called my aunt said, nope, the only place for you to go is Job Corps. Why don't you just go to Job Corps? Nobody want to be bothered with you. Nobody wants you, no place for you to go. You ain't got no place, because I was saying I ain't got no place to go. Well, if you ain't got no place to go, then go to Job Corps. So I kept that in my head, but I didn't go right then and there because I didn't know the procedures, right? So I wound up in Covenant House. Stayed in Covenant House for about 2 years. So now I'm about 17 now. I'm 17. Because you had to be 17 straight out of school before you can go in Job Corps. So I had got out of school and everything, right? So I told my grandma, I just wanted to get away. Now I was at a place where I just wanted to get away from all my family members. See, this place is a place where people get to where they kill themselves. All the different things that happened to me, and then some, because I ain't tell it all. But all the different things that was said to me, if it was said to anybody that did not believe in God, they would have killed themselves. Everybody kick you out. The grandma don't know what's going on. So the grandma's in South Carolina. The grandma thinking that her son, the father, is taking care of her grandchild, and he got her walking the street. So once my grandmother got back and found out that I wasn't living with my father, she was no good. They calling all over the place trying to find me. I'm in Covenant. And this is the second time I'm in Covenant House. Right? So I'm in the room because I had gotten, and let me just say this. God looks out for his own. He saw that I was going down a road of destruction because I had gotten to the place where that's it. I'm staying in this Covenant House. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I was becoming very, very troublesome. No, not troublesome. Problematic. So I'm inside this covenant house and I'm causing trouble. I caused trouble so much that they kicked me out the room I was in. If we hear anything else from you, Miss Wilson, you coming out the room. And this is nighttime. It's time for everybody to be in their bed. And I'm cracking jokes and I'm like, ow. I'm repeating what the lady said. Ow, if you don't go to bed, if we hear anything else from you, you being kicked out. You coming in the lounge room. I think that's what they call it. Everybody cracking up. And they can see, because they got the cameras inside the office. She came out. Miss Wilson, I'm giving it to Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson, get in there. Go into the lounge room. Take your pillow, you going. So I went up in there. You got to stay in there for 3 days until the bed get free. Because as soon as they kick you out, they give the bed to somebody that's coming in. So I take the space of the person that was lying in like a big old living room. I'm there. Cracking jokes. And they just yelling, Miss Wilson. But I'm going to tell you honestly, even the staff was cracking up. The staff was like, what's going on with you, Miss Wilson? You normally be quiet. I said, I don't know what's going on with me, but I don't know what's happening, but this is the deal. I'm sick and tired of y'all and everybody. But because the lady knew that wasn't my personality, she dealt with it, because she could have called security and had me escorted out of there, because I was doing everything I could to get out of there. I didn't care if I had got locked up. That's where my mind was. I was so sick of what I went through with my parent, and all I wanted to do was to go back home to my grandmother. But I didn't know where my grandmother was. I mean, I knew she was in the South, but I didn't know whether she was back yet. So I'm thinking she's still in the South. So I got another 3 or 4 months. I'm not with her, so sometimes she stayed a whole year down there. And I'm thinking I got to be in this mess for the whole year. So I'm there and I'm cracking jokes. And then I heard the staff say, Miss Wilson. I said, ooh. Everybody started saying, ooh. And I put the cover out. They came to the inside and turned the light on. They used the flashlight. They said, Miss Wilson. Miss Sharon Wilson, yes. You got a phone call. So I'm like, a phone call? Nobody knew where I was, because I had, when my father put me out, I couldn't go to my uncle. I couldn't go to my aunt's house. She had told me Job Corps, so that's where she thought I was, because they just kicked me out there. My grandmother was in the South, so I couldn't call my grandmother. So they didn't know, and this is like 6 months, could have been a year. So I was in and out of Covenant. So I was, now that I'm thinking about it, I was in the street. I was in the girl house, and I came back. So I don't even know. I think I was sleeping like in the benches, in the park. Oh, man, now I'm thinking about it. Because where was I going to go? Okay, so now with that being said, they say I got a phone call. I go pick up the phone. I said, hello? Sharon, is that you? And I know my aunt's voice. I said, yes. I said, what you want? Sharon, oh my God. Sharon, shoot. My aunt was on the other end crying. I don't know what was going on at the time. She hadn't got a chance to tell me, because she was so happy to hear my voice, but yet still she was crying. So I was like, she was like, oh my goodness. Oh my God. And then she told me, she said, I'm sitting here and a news alert came across my television saying that a Sharon Wilson just got killed. I said, what? They said, oh my goodness. And I'm saying to myself, I didn't say to myself, I said, because I remember I told you I was at that gangster, that's what it was. It was that gangster life I was stepping into, right? So I wasn't in a gang, but I was doing that gangster stuff. And then, remember I said I was tomboyish and stuff like that. So had my sweatpants hanging off of me, had my Converse on, I was ghetto fabulous. That's what they called it. So now I was like, oh, so you was scared I got killed, right? I said, what you worrying about it for? You left me out there. I know, Sharon, right, Sharon, right. I'm sorry, right. Oh, I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so glad you're alive. So she said, okay. She said, I gotta let mama know that you okay. I said, mommy is back? Yeah. We'll call you back. Either me or James Al gonna call you back. Well, I don't say the name now. But that's my uncle. So I'm there and I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. So I calmed down, right? And so the lady was in there. The lady was in there and she noticed the difference in me. She said, wow. She said, what was going on with that phone call? Because you seem different. So I didn't say nothing. I said, yeah. So I went on in there. I was quieter and stuff like that. Next thing you know, the phone rang again and they called me again. Ooh, my heart started fluttering, because I was like, is this mommy or is this my uncle or this is my aunt, right? And I went and answered the phone and it was my uncle. He said, Sharon? I said, yes. She said, oh my goodness, we've been looking all over for you. I said, for real? Yeah, child, mommy. Hold on, because she about to knock me over the head with the phone because she need to talk to you. So she said, see, I'm thinking right now. So she said, Sharon? I said, mommy? She said, oh, Sharon. She said, oh, Sharon, how are you? So I was like, I'm okay, mommy, I'm okay. She said, I'm going to get Jesse. I call their names, but that's my family. I can call their names. He's deceased anyway. She said, I'm going to get him. She said, well, your uncle's coming to pick you up. You got to tell him where you is. And she was on the other end crying, and I'm crying. She said, what's going on? I said, Daddy kicked me. See, nobody from the place that I was in, the staff, they didn't know why I was there because they don't really get into that. If you come in there with the police, the story is always they ain't got no place to go. But they don't really know the story. They don't really, because if you don't act out or something where they feel like you need some counseling or something wrong with you and they got to give you some drugs, they don't get in your business. They just leave you out there. And that was one thing that they told me when I went up in there. They said, don't act crazy, because if you do, they're going to be injecting you with some medicine, or you're going to have to be taking some pills every single day, and that's going to make you worse than you is, if anything's wrong with you, right? So I always would stick to myself and mind my business. That was the only time, as I said, that I was acting crazy. So it was a good thing that was a night shift and they was cool and I was having them laughing, because they could have easily got security. They could have easily injected me with something, because the pharmacy is never closed over in those type of places, right? So mommy was like, okay. She said, he coming to get you. And then she put him back on the phone. And he just laughing away. He said, oh my goodness, Sharon. He said, it's so good. He said, good to see you. Your aunt called us talking about they heard that I got killed. They heard that a Sharon Wilson got killed, and mommy was going ballistic. They said, I ain't never seen mommy act like that. And she wasn't letting me rest. She called me up and she told me, she said, you better go find my girl. You better find her and bring her home. She said, so I'm coming to get you. He said, where you at? So I said, well, here you. I'm crying and everything. So I hear in the phone, and the staff looking at me like, what? I had to laugh. She went like this. She said, you got some tears? I'm thinking about that. That was so funny. She said, oh my goodness. She said, you is a good person. So she gets on the phone and they're talking. And so they said, yes, Miss Wilson. So that means they was talking to my grandmother. Yes, Miss Wilson. She's okay. You know, she's a nice person. She's a nice girl. All right, we'll have her together. Then they wanted to talk to me. So I got back on the phone. My uncle was talking to me. And he was like, all right, Sharon, get your stuff together. He said, you know what? You ain't got to bring no stuff. He said, you know you ain't got to worry about that. Because you know we're going to take it shopping. I loved myself some Uncle James. Uncle James was hilarious. He knew how to pick you up and make you feel good, right? That's the Wilson part of us, right? So anybody that know me and know that I consider me to be funny and a good person to be with, that's how my uncle was. So he had me laughing and stuff. He said, don't worry. He said, I'm coming to get you because if I don't come get you, mommy going to knock my brains out. So they came and picked me up. And I went to back to mommy, and mommy had the food already. Ooh, we hugged one another. We kissed her. She kissed me. Hugged Uncle James. All the way home, Uncle James kept telling me about mommy. And I told him what happened with Aunt Virginia, what happened with my dad, right? And he was like, what, Sharon? Say, your father let a girl put you in the street? And to have his mother go through all that when he was supposed to be taking care of you, my uncle was mad. I don't know whether he encountered. He did tell me that he was going to say something to my father. He said, I'm going to go bump him up. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I went back to mommy's house, stayed with her for whatever, finished school, got out of school, and she wanted to know what I wanted to do. And I told her I wanted to go to Job Corps. She was like, Job Corps? So boom, 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 boom. I went to Job Corps, met my husband, etc., etc. Now I come back in the church. I am now 19. Yeah, 63, 73, 83. 83. No, I'm 20 because I had my son. Yeah, I'm 20 years old, so I had to have my son when I was 19. Got pregnant when I was 18 because you know that takes like I got pregnant when I'm 18. So I got pregnant after my birthday and towards the end of the year. So he was born March, February, January, December, November, October, September, August, July, May. So I had to get pregnant in May of 1982. So that means that I was in Job Corps 1981. Yeah. Because 1981, then going into 82, I got pregnant and my son was born in 83. And I was 20. So I had to be 18 years old when I got there and 19 years old when I got pregnant. So, got married at 20. Had my son when I was 20, March the 5th. And we got married March 23rd. So we had to wait for our blood tests to come back and all that stuff, right? Everything came back clear. He ain't have nothing, I ain't had nothing. And they let us get married. You know, I don't know how it is today. Because back then, you had to get your blood tested so that if anybody had diseases, they couldn't blame the other one, number one. And if you wanted to do something about it, if you still wanted to get married or whatever. So we had to wait for our blood test results. And at that time, they ain't had no rapid blood results like they do today. So we had to wait like 2 to 3 weeks before we got our blood results. So when we got our blood results like the 21st. of 1983 of March, and we got married the 23rd. I came back to church with my son, and I came back and I sat down next to my husband. We came in there as a married couple. Tracy wasn't saved and I wasn't saved, but we came in there as a married couple. So that was my first backsliding, and I went and got saved again. So now I'm going to do another story time tomorrow because I'm tired. That was the story. I know it didn't talk too much about me backsliding. That was more of a story time of my life. But I guess I had to go through all of that to let y'all see, as a young person being saved, what I went through. And I didn't do nothing contrary to God. What I did was what was brought upon me or what was introduced to me. Now, once I became an adult, that's what the Bible says. When you was a child, you understood as a child, you thought as a child. But when you become a man, you put away childish things. So, when I became an adult, I became responsible for my thoughts and what I did and how I act against God. Right? So I will continue this tomorrow, and that will be me getting saved, and me and my husband, me getting saved, my husband getting saved, and then we both backsliding. Because this is more so a backsliding video, because I want people to understand the concept of backsliding and what can cause you to backslide and what can't cause you to backslide. Okay, so with that being said, I'll leave that be. God bless you. Bye. Oh, excuse me.